DPW, and water and sewer. We'll then go to a town administrator update. We then have action items, old business, new business, correspondence, approval of minutes, a citizens forum, executive session, and then adjournment. So with that, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Again, tonight I'd like to take a moment of silence, and at this point I'm going to remain on thinking of our lost soldiers and service members in connection to the war in Iran. It appears that this action is over as of today, or yesterday, I should say. So hopefully that is the case. But again, I want to thank our service members and pray for the families of those who lost a loved one in this action, or really any other one. So please take a moment of silence. Thank you. Public service announcements. Mary Dowling.
No.
Gideon?
Just want to thank all the residents who came out for the Dowdy Road Public Forum. I thought it was great to see all the families here and engage in the process, especially this early on.
No, it is wonderful.
We had a full house.
Yeah.
I have a couple things. First, we have a community volunteer opportunity for a Sturbridge pickleball tournament, and the special events committee is seeking someone to help prepare the town's first ever pickleball tournament. The position carries a $350 stipend, and individuals can contact Terry Masterson to apply. So again, please reach out if you're interested. It sounds like a fun event. I will second Katie and Mary's comments about the planning event and participation on Dowdy Road, even though I actually wasn't there. And then, but we'll note that tomorrow night we have a similar process on MassDOT, is basically where they are redoing the intersection of 131 and 20, and will be the tentative plan, at least, is to create a rotary through the zone, so people need to participate to understand what is going on, because that is if not the key intersection in town, it's one of them. A lot of our economic growth and just the functional area of Stall Points West goes through there, so we need to make sure it's done properly and hopefully well. So with that, anything else, Robin?
You want me to just do my town administrator report while we're
Well,
here?
so maybe just announce the parade.
That's what I was
Oh,
going to
yeah.
say. So if I could.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'll just do my little update. June 27th is our parade. It runs from Stallion Hill to just past the Common. It'll actually be sort of disbanding in the doctor's office. The psychiatric office is right up the road past the Common. So the parade will literally go just past the Common. Kickoff is at 10 o'clock. We are working on a prayer ceremony just before the 1 o'clock.
What I was going to ask you.
Kickoff. So Garrett has tried to reach out to the American Legion. He's not been able to get a response yet, but he will. If we have to just coordinate one of our own, we will. It'll either be, we're still working whether it be the North Cemetery or at the Revolution Cemetery, just depending on logistics because of the parade. It might get more participation if we actually do it right at the Revolution Cemetery, because we'll have parade watchers there.
Lovely. And Bob Rare, he's going
to be the Grand Marshal.
and he's always participated.
He does the Memorial Day Thursday as well.
Right, and also on
Yes.
when we've had the parades, he's
Yes.
also said the poem about
Yes.
the poppies.
So
and
we'll
reach out to
yes.
him.
So he'll be there as the Grand Marshal anyway, so we'll get him right off the beaten path into that. Likely will happen, I think that's probably gonna happen around 1:45. 1 o'clock is the kickoff of the festival. At that point, I will be introducing Janae Lacey, who will be singing our national anthem to kick off that event. So we have a big day planned on the 27th. We hope and encourage the public to come. We will be relaxing some of the parking. I mean, along 15, there's some ample parking there, so people can park there. The church will not be, the church has been very kind in not having any events scheduled for that day, so people participating in the parade will have some parking. So we're doing our best to deal with some of the logistics of parking, but we're really excited. We have a lot of town staff marching. We have boards and committees, a lot of boards and committees marching. Mutilda the cow will be making her reappearance for the spring in the parade, so we are particularly excited. Police and fire will have presence as well. I think we have a tank, all sorts of stuff. So that's the parade, and then I do want to thank the Memorials and Monuments Committee. Wally will be up making a presentation later, but several years back I had approached this board with the idea of setting up a Hometown Heroes program, and I was given the support of the board and said, well, if you can find some volunteers to help you, because you can't do it and the staff doesn't have time, and I said, okay. And then in the meantime, the Memorials and Monuments Committee happened to be formed for a whole host of other reasons, and the fact that we have such dedication to that in this town. That committee was formed, and one of the first meetings I mentioned to Wally and team that this is sort of a goal of mine. And we've seen that now come to fruition, and it was wonderful to see the Hometown Heroes banners, the first of them put up right now along 131, and one by special request in front of the senior center. We will be reopening the application process for that.
All right, great.
So we will have more of those. And then finally, I do want to thank DPW for all of their assistance in getting the 250th banners up. We will be leaving them up through the season, not just until the 4th of July, given the amount of money invested in them and the time and effort to get them up. So I want to thank Heather and her team, Jacqueline, and the guys at DPW. We did finally get it. It took a little while getting the state to permit us to do it, but we finally got it done. So thank you to all on this. It's been a collective effort for the 250th, and so monumental in a town like Sturbridge that has such a celebrated, particularly revolutionary history.
Perfect. All right. It is past 6:35, 6:38 to be precise. So we can begin with our first public hearing.
Public hearing, timber harvest, in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 132, Section 40 to 46. The Sturbridge Select Board will hold a public hearing on the petition of Hull Forest Products, Inc. for a forest cutting plan for land on 155 Breakneck Road, Sturbridge, Mass., owned by Hull Forest Lands Limited Partnership. The hearing will be held on Monday, June 15, 2026, 6:35 p.m., Sturbridge Town Hall, Veterans Memorial Hall, second floor, 308 Main Street, Sturbridge.
Okay. Is anybody here from Hull Forest? Come on down. Thank you. You just identify yourself from the record and let us know what we're...
Christopher Lemery, Forester for Hull Forest Products, licensed in the state of Massachusetts as well as Connecticut. Also Audubon endorsed Forester, license number 489. Here on behalf of Hull Forest Products to present a timber harvest on 155 Breakneck Road. Just a quick history about the property. Everybody probably know this. Sturbridge was settled in 1729, incorporated in 1738. Clearing began around that time, most likely finished by the late 1700s, early 1800s. This is notable by the field evidence of Virginia rail fence, stone walls, and barbed wire, with most stone walls being created from the 1810s to the 1840s. Where Virginia rail fence was prior to that, due to the amount of wood that was available and then completely cleared at the time. Then they started to use stone walls. And then around 1860s to 1870s, barbed wire came at hand, and that is also notable in the field. And a couple of notable harvesting events. 1976, Rossi Hardwoods had done a harvest in that area. It was a little bit more intensive than what you would like to call a selective harvest. It was kind of more of a diameter limit harvest at that point. And then 1986, Bill Hall himself, prior to owning the full property with only partial ownership, did another harvest. You can consider that a pre-commercial harvest of some pulp and some hardwood firewood. And then another harvest done by his son, Sam Hall, from 1996 to the early 2000s, which a forest cutting plan was then filed at that point by Michael Bartlett, who was our senior forester, retired about 2 years ago. So this harvest will be on around 260 acres out of 332 acres of total acreage of the property. The prescription for this harvest is going to be considered a selective / group selection harvest, with some areas being considered an irregular shelterwood and other areas considered more of an improvement thinning, with group patches selected in areas of high unacceptable growing stock. The goal of this harvest is to improve the overall forest health and productivity, improve bird and wildlife habitat diversity, as well as enhance and improve recreational opportunities such as hunting and vista sites, create marketable wood products, and generate long-term income through the continuation of the forest stewardship legacy that this property has seen in previous years. There will be watercourse and wetland crossings involved with this harvest, as you can see on the map attached to the notification itself. Most of the crossings involved with this harvest are pre-existing culvert crossings, with about 4 of them, 2 of them being wetland crossings and 2 of them being stream crossings. Timber bridge mats and or corduroy will be used to cross these watercourse and wetlands. Timber bridge mats will be used on the streams and wetlands, and then smaller wetlands areas, corduroy will be used. There will be trees removed in upland review areas and wetlands, such as dying ash, just reaching in from the edge and stuff like that. There is, in the forest cutting plan, there is one area that is considered harvesting in wetland. It's at your southeastern corner of the property, under the label HW-4. Any old skid roads will be used alongside new skid roads where necessary. This property has had extensive work done on the forest system road, the forest road system by Bill Hall himself, as well as Rossi Hardwoods. So old skid roads alongside new skid roads will be used where necessary, and all best management practices adopted by the Mass DCR will be strictly adhered to. Now, I have already discussed with this harvest with Jacob Seidel, the state forester. He has taken a walk and identified all of the culvert crossings as well as the stream crossings, and anywhere we are recommending not to harvest, which you can see here indicated by the red dashed shapefile. Now, that's just areas of steepness and filter strips around the beaver pond there. And I do want to, there is something to note as well. DFW Liz Newlands is going to be meeting us out there at the end of this month with a plant biologist. This whole area is under not only the National Diversity Database, known as like a National Heritage Area. This area also has portions of the property that is under plant protection areas. This plant is known as climbing fumitory. So at the end of this month, when hopefully that plant is flowering, we're going to identify those areas and flag them off and basically have a buffer around those plant protection areas. And due to the fact that you can see on the locus / estimated habitats of rare wildlife, this area is considered to be priority habitat, basically the entire property, so that the timing of the harvest is going to be from November 15th to April 15th due to those restrictions. Now, the restrictions for the plant protection area is only through the Mass DFW due to the fact that we have a conservation restriction on this property. It's been under there, I think, for about 10 or so years now. and basically allowing the public access to the property. And in doing so, we have to follow these regulations such as the plant protection areas. And that's pretty much that. If you guys have any more questions, I'd be happy to answer.
No, that was very thorough. Questions, Barry?
I didn't have a question, but, no, extremely thorough, and thanks for the brief history.
Of course.
Reference. In the past, I just noticed, are there neighbors around this property?
The only neighbor is
Houses?
Mass DFW and Cessla, who owns Cessla Construction Company.
Okay, because in the past, we haven't really allowed forest cutting to start as early as 6 a.m. I think we've had it later because of neighbors and the huge trucks that come in. I thought that they started at 7 or 8 in the morning, but I could be mistaken. I just thought 6 a.m.'s pretty early, but if you don't have residential homes
The
around
only
there.
neighbors, like I said, is the Mass DFW, Cessla, which is just a forested property, and then the town Sturbridge transfer station. And then beyond that, there's another buffer that the town owns, which is all forest, a pond, and then that's where the houses start at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, where it is, I think.
Okay, I was just, that has been a concern in the past.
No,
and-
it's a really fair point.
And
Barry,
we
but-
coordinated with buses, but it doesn't seem, this seems like ice land that's like not in a residential area
Yeah.
on Breakneck.
We actually, back in early September, early October maybe, we did significant road work off of Breakneck Road to actually get in there.
Okay,
So it's pretty far back
okay.
there.
Because we used to have a list of our own conditions, Rob, and that we always, coordinate with the bus.
Policies, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But
and we didn't allow it on holidays, for example, forest cutting to take place, but I don't know how this particular board feels about all that.
I mean, I think generally I would probably agree with those type of restrictions, but I think in this specific instance, given where the land's situated and that even on Breakneck, if they're going on there, the recycling center opens at 6:30 anyways, so
Okay.
it's all kind of.
You're not close to all the homes on Breakneck Road, then?
No, it's like I
Okay.
said, the people's homes probably start right after the dump area that they
Right.
have. It's like a sand pit.
Right.
So, I mean, I would say after the transfer station, it's probably another 1,000 feet or so till the homes actually start.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I don't have an issue with it, that. I think you're right though, Mary, on the
we
future.
typically do with forestry plans, yeah.
Okay.
So, Katie, and anything?
The only question I have is, so on the memos we received, I think they all stated November 1st to April 1st, but you mentioned November 15th to April 15th.
Might have been a typo. Yeah, it's November 15th to April 15th.
Okay, yeah, all right. Thank you.
And that's because of the National Diversity Database that they have, considering this property a priority habitat. They can't basically release the information about the actual animal or the wildlife itself. We believe it's the black rat snake, but basically the entire property is under that, so that's why we have to stick with that. Or else we'd probably be doing it tomorrow in prime, dry habitat.
Now, I noticed Conservation approved it
Yes.
with conditions. So was this memo shared with?
Yes.
the condition? Oh, so you already know, and that's why you outline everything you're going to do to protect
And
the
it gets vetted
wetlands?
before it comes to you.
Awesome, okay. I'm good.
Yeah, so it's a public hearing. Anybody from the public? All right, hearing none. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
All right, do we have a second?
One second.
All those in favor? Great. All right, on the substance, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the forest cutting plan presented to us by the business known as Hull Forest Products, Inc., to begin work November 15th and run through April 15th, subject to the conditions that were suggested or imposed by our Conservation Commission.
Do we have a second?
A second?
All right, all those in favor? Great, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
It is all right, so we can,
Yep.
it's after 6:45, so we can go to our next public hearing, Mary?
National Grid has made a petition to the Sturbridge Select Board to install one JO pole on Burgess School Road beginning at a point approximately 846 feet north of center line of the intersection of Main Street and Burgess School Road, installing pole number 4-89 in a public way to Guy Corner Pole. The poll hearing will take place on Monday, June 15th, 2026 at 6:45 PM, Sturbridge Town Hall, second floor, Veterans Memorial Hall, 308 Main Street, Sturbridge.
All right. So I take it this is up near where they're doing the work at the beginning of Cedar Street, or am I incorrect there?
So this is on, no, yes, this is on the way up to the school parking lot. There's a pole that was just recently changed out.
Oh, I see.
It's on a corner with a really bad angle, so it's being pulled inwards. So we're trying to put a stub pole across the road to balance that.
Got you. So this is actually,
So you're right in the location. It's right before you turn in to the parking lot. Oh, it's not.
I think it's when you turn in. And
Oh,
then
it's when you already
Yeah,
turn.
you go around the corner towards the parking lot. And
got
then I think he's saying there's a balancing pole you're putting in, if I'm getting that right?
Yeah, just to counteract the
Yeah.
pole going that way.
So you're basically just relocating a pole at Burgess.
Adding a
Well,
Adding,
adding,
yeah.
yeah.
Are you going to wait till school gets out for that? Yes.
I think they can, yeah, but I mean.
Because, I mean, school's done on Thursday. I know, because that traffic right now is ridiculous between the sidewalk and the parents, and I didn't know if you were starting tomorrow, which would not be a good
No, I
idea.
don't think that
Okay.
it's scheduled that early. I don't think they even have it on the schedule until this is all cleared up.
And ideally, if they could do it before September, then,
Oh, okay, got it.
so we can get it done before school starts,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
ideally.
Okay, any other questions from the board? Does that make sense? This also is a public hearing, if anybody has anything. All right, hearing no questions, do we have a motion on the public hearing?
Motion to close public hearing.
Do we have a second?
Second?
All those in favor? Great. Do we have a motion on the substance of the poll?
I'll make a motion that we approve the petition for a joint or identical pole location on Burgess School Road as presented by the application at our hearing this evening.
All right,
Second?
all right, all those in favor? Great, thank you so much for coming, nice seeing you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and we have a few minutes to start, so Chief, I think we can get through your appointment.
Good evening. I'm pleased to bring forward and introduce Miss Laurel Ives for consideration to the position of full-time dispatcher within the Sturbridge Police Communications Center. Miss Ives holds a Bachelor's of Arts from the University of Massachusetts, where she majored in sociology and English. She's a longtime Sturbridge resident and has been employed at several customer service positions within the community since 2021, including 2 local restaurants and a daycare provider. These roles have allowed her to develop strong communication, interpersonal skills, and customer service skills that are directly applicable to being a dispatcher. Ms. Ives successfully completed her background check as part of the hiring process. Her cover letter reflects a strong desire to work in the community and join the department, as well as the ability to remain organized, professional, and effective in a demanding situation. Her education, experience, and skills make her a strong candidate for our communication center. I have attached her resume for your review and respectfully recommend Laurel Ives be appointed as a full-time dispatcher effective June 16, 2026, at the starting rate of $24.24 per hour.
Questions for the board? All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the appointment of Laurel Ives as a full-time dispatcher with the Sturbridge Police Department at an hourly rate of $24.24. We gotta play that number, $24.24, effective June 16th, 2026.
All right, do we have a second?
Second?
All those in favor? Welcome aboard.
Congratulations. God bless.
Would it be okay with the mom gets a picture with you?
Of course.
Go ahead.
What's it?
Do you want to
picture
get?
with us? Okay. It's kind of a straight. You get it? All right, perfect.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Okay.
Bye, Chief.
Thanks, Chief. We still have a few minutes.
DPW and water sewer update?
I mean, it's gonna be
That might be
three.
longer, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's 3 minutes. So big.
Oh, yeah, where's your historic contract? Jean wants her historic contract done. C, it's actually C.
Okay. Jean, come down about action item C, and then we'll go into the vote.
First she makes a request and then
I
she
know.
falls
She
on the
goes,
corner of the table.
on the way out, getting a comp injury on the way out, Jean. You know
Yeah,
how it
gee,
goes.
that's shameless after 21 years.
All right.
Good evening. So this evening, I'm here to ask for your approval to allow Robin to sign the contract with Barrett Planning LLC for the Phase 4 of our historic survey work. We did issue an RFP. We had 5 proposals, and Barrett Planning LLC was determined highly advantageous after the review of the criteria by the Historic Commission. And we did check references, and after that, opened the price proposal, and the price came in on actually slightly under budget, and the contract amount would be $57,000, and that leaves us $2,000 for printing and incidental expenses.
All right. Because we literally have 1 minute and a half to kill, what can you just explain for to everybody who might be watching it what the community-wide preservation plan is?
Yes, so the Historic Community Preservation Plan was a plan that we did in 2023 that determined what direction the Historic Commission should go in preservation of our assets. So it identified areas that should be surveyed, and we've been working along those lines. This will be our 4th phase of surveying various properties, and it's also identified some archaeological resources that should be surveyed as well. Those are actually kept confidential when they are done. It also recommended some education, public education and outreach that we should be doing, some recommendations for self-guided tours, such as the one that we have around the town common, updates to our website, which actually Janae Lacey has been doing a fantastic job in updating our website. All of our information that we've been gathering is available on the website, so I encourage everybody to take a look at the website and see what we've been doing. And we've actually been trying to create some story maps, so all of the properties that have been surveyed, the survey data is on there, and then we hope to create a map where you can link on the parcel. We'll bring you to the survey data, you can read about that property, and you can also see where it lies in relation in the community.
Great.
So, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
All right. Any questions from the board?
This is the last phase? You said the 4th phase?
It's the 4th phase, and we thought it might be the last, but actually, it really won't be. During our last round of work with Easton, they really identified some other areas that we should really be considering. So I'm recommending that the Historic Commission next year think about a 5th phase, actually, because we can't possibly do it for the budget that we have this year. So they made some really good recommendations. So this year we'll concentrate on filling in some gaps. We're looking at Library Lane. We're actually looking at the neighborhood that used to exist within the Plimpton property and try to document that while the Conservation Commission is doing their baseline survey up there right now. So that's kind of appropriate to tie that all in, and it could lead the way for some maybe historic self-guided walks up there. There's still some remnants of some foundations and things there. We also have a couple of sites on some other properties that I don't want to disclose publicly that really should be documented for archaeological purposes. So, and then we're also looking at doing an intensive survey with the Library Lane properties, which will take the cooperation of the property owners there, because many of those homes aren't visible from the street. So we'll be reaching out to the owners there to see if they're interested in participating in such a survey. So doing much more kind of intensive research. it seems that each time you work with a different consultant, they have some really good ideas that they bring back to the commission, and it's just making for a much more robust capturing of the history of the town, which is really important because we want to capture that before it's gone. So, once somebody tears a home down, it's really gone. So you want to capture that story, the photographs, the documentation, what makes it so unique. And we're not surveying every single building in the community, but we're targeting unique architectural styles, or maybe there was a famous architect that designed several homes in the community. We're trying to do a series by that particular architect. So we're really trying to diversify and make sure we capture what really makes us unique.
That's great. All right, any other questions, thoughts?
In terms of funding sources, is this coming from general funds or CPC?
CPC.
CPC is funding this, great, and we can use it prior to the start of next fiscal year, right?
This was an article from last year's town meeting, so we needed to finish up what we were working on from the previous article, so this just went out. It took about 3 months to select a vendor, so.
All right, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we authorize our town administrator to execute an agreement between the town of Sturbridge and Barrett Planning Group in the amount of $57,000 for the preparation of a community-wide historic preservation plan for the term June 15, 2026 through June 30, 2027.
Now second it?
Perfect. All right, all those in favor? Great. All right, thank you for that, Jean.
Now we can do it.
Now we're going to the 7 o'clock public hearing. Mary, if you would.
Another one. Hold on.
I don't think, is this a
It's not a
formal- This is
public
not a
hearing.
formal public hearing.
Oh, it's not?
No.
Oh, it's on my public hearing list, so that's all.
Oh.
So we don't have to do
Probably
a,
heard.
all right, so this is the presentation of the final housing production plan to the select board to have us review and approve, recommended by the Affordable Housing Trust and Planning Board, and it will authorize the Chief Administrative Officer, Robin, to sign the required letter to the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, affirming the plan's adoption and enabling submission for state approval. How's it going, gang? All right.
Right.
Go ahead.
So thank you. With me this evening, I have Karen Sonneborg, our housing consultant, Diane Trapasso, the chair of the Affordable Housing Trust, Michael Kaplan, who's a member of the Affordable Housing Trust, Wally Hersey is in the back, he's also a member, and Jamie Goodwin is also a member of the Affordable Housing Trust.
It's Mr. Chair in this
Mr. Chair,
ceremony.
excuse me. Mr. Chair is also a member of the Affordable Housing Trust, and Robin and I are ex officio members. So we are here this evening to present our final housing production plan to the board for your review and approval. So as you are aware, we do this every 6 years. Our last housing production plan expired in March of 2026, and we've been working on this new plan with Karen since January, I believe. So we've accomplished a great deal of work in the past 6 months. We started out with a community-wide survey. We've held public forum. Karen has done stakeholder interviews with different people within the community and gathered a lot of data to perform a housing needs analysis and has provided us with a great deal of data. And with that data, we have worked with Karen to develop some housing strategies. And with that, I think I'll turn it over to Karen so she can kind of give you a brief overview of what her findings were as she guided us through this process. And then at the end, we'd be looking for a vote of support so that we can send this into Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities for their final support for this plan.
Great, thanks, Jean. It's a pretty detailed and comprehensive document. I'm just going to try to hit on some key points. One is that we are actually processing this plan through housing production requirements, which are a subset of Chapter 40B regulations that are meant to give greater control over housing to localities. The housing production works this way. First, you put together a plan that meets all the requirements. You submit it to the state gets approval, then you actually produce units. If the town produces 0.5% of its year-round housing stock, which is equivalent to 20 units, it gets what's called safe harbor, which means that a developer who wants to submit a comprehensive permit to the town, which the town considers inappropriate, the town can deny that application and get this period of 12 months where the developer cannot actually do the project without the developer's ability to appeal that decision. If it gets 1% of the year-round housing stock, which is 40 units, 20 units for 0.5%, 40 units for 1%, it gets a 2-year safe harbor, which basically precludes 40B applications that override zoning for that period of 2 years. In order for units to meet that 20-unit housing production goal, annual housing production goal, the units have to meet a number of requirements. They have to be, for example, deed restricted, affirmatively marketed, and they have to be targeted at households earning at or below 80% of area median income. And give you an idea of what that means, it's based on some new recent 2026 income limits for a household of 3, that's $94,850. So it's not chump change. I mean, it's just like they're working families involved in this. We distilled a lot of data, a lot of information to come up with priority housing needs, which really suggested a focus primarily on rental housing, but nevertheless, an understanding that first-time home ownership or opportunities for downsizing should still be considered part of the town's housing agenda. And then we developed a package, so to say, of housing strategies that were somewhat aspirational, but also pragmatic too, that came out of our kind of outreach process, came out of what's worked for the town in the past, what's worked in other communities that are comparable, and for consideration to be prioritized and processed through the normal regulatory channels in the town. There were a number of categories of strategies. One were strategies to build the town's capacity to implement the plan. An example that came out of the housing workshop was to create an ad hoc task force that would include representatives of various appropriate town boards and committees to coordinate implementation of the housing plan to keep things on track. Another was to capitalize the housing trust, so the housing trust can continue to operate programs and to respond to development opportunities as they arise, instead of having to wait for annual town meeting to get that approval specifically. There were a series of zoning-related strategies that came out of the plan. One was Chapter 40Y, which is a starter housing bylaw that the state enacted that comes with some state financial incentives that's meant to provide an overlay district to permit starter housing, smaller homes on smaller lots with somewhat greater density. This is a relatively recent program from the state, and the recommendation is to look into it. Another zoning-related recommendation is a cottage housing bylaw that is somewhat related to the starter home piece, talking about building smaller bungalow or cottage-style units usually around a collective kind of green space. So we're talking about smaller clusters of smaller units that are really useful for starter housing again, as well as for downsizing. And there are excellent models across the country and across the state, and the town Planning office has already developed a draft bylaw, and the suggestion is to revisit that bylaw and for the planning board to kind of move forward on that within the next few years. And then there were a series of production and preservation recommendations. One of the key pieces of this plan is the use of the local initiative program, which is also referred to as the Friendly 40B program, such that the developer and the town agree on the specific program terms and conditions of a development project, and then jointly apply to the state to get the go-ahead to submit a comprehensive permit to the ZBA. 40B gets a bad rep, but it is an excellent permitting tool. If you have a project that really meets the town's priorities and involves some waivers of local zoning, 40B works. And in this case, the select board is really kind of driving the project in partnership with a developer. And we also recommend the Housing Trust has worked on a framework for a program we're calling the Private Housing Development Support Program that provides some direction to developers on the types of projects the town would like to see based on priorities that are established in this housing plan, and that, you know, encouraging developers to come forward with projects, and if they meet some of these, with these particular guidelines, so you have some housing guidelines, then potentially the Housing Trust can subsidize them and go through this LIP process if existing regulations, existing bylaws are not relevant. So it's a way of trying to incentivize developers to come forward with projects that are meaningful to the community, that meet the town's preferences, with support to make them more feasible. And there, also we're talking about mostly development towards infill housing and redevelopment, as opposed to developing greenfields. And I think that's a really important aspect of this particular plan. So the idea of redevelopment, including maybe clusters or particular smaller scale developments in existing neighborhoods, makes sense. I mean, I think that kind of in a nutshell, kind of the highlights of what we have in the plan. Most of this is not new, completely new, but has been discussed in the past and really was promoted through the planning process.
I would like to thank Karen. She's been partnered with us through several contracts now with getting this all going and really helping us, partnering with Jean, to make some of these things concrete. This is a plan, but in the past we've also had programs now that we're seeing concrete rewards from, as recently as today it looks like.
Yes.
So I want to thank Karen for her tremendous work. She's been just a wonderful consultant.
It's been a joy and a privilege, I got to say. I mean, you guys really have it together as a community. It's been such a relatively easy process for me, working with the Housing Trust and the planning office and you. And other people that we interviewed during the process, I think Heather's there, yeah. So.
Oh, thank you, we appreciate it. Questions, thoughts, concerns?
What did you consider comparable communities? I know you talked about comparable communities. Out of curiosity, what are to Sturbridge?
Well, I think we're looking at communities that also have challenges regarding infrastructure and sewer and water, for example. Some communities in central Mass, but we also looked at some projects that were in the Berkshires and even in Cape Cod, because there's some really good models there that can be adapted here. And even though prices are rising like crazy here, they are still kind of viable to consider certain strategies like the buy-down program. You know, affordability gaps are widening, but compared to other communities, they're not widening as much, but we really did look at the combination of economics, location, and various kind of local challenges.
All right, Katie?
Well, I want to also thank Jean here for getting the housing trust up and running, because that took some effort. I know we worked with CPC to get that going, and I know we got a short description of the whole project. It is a pretty comprehensive document, and for residents, if they want to see the discussion, I think the planning board, I did watch that meeting, and I thought you guys went really, really in depth in terms of the challenges of the town and things that you were working towards solving. So, yeah, really, really impressive document, I think.
And all of that is online
Yep.
on the Affordable Housing Trust section of the website. We have all of the presentations, the links to the meetings, everything can be watched there and viewed there too.
Yeah, it's been a remarkable amount of effort, and as she always does, Jean went above and beyond.
Thanks.
With that, do we have a motion? Where is that?
I can do it. I have a motion to approve the housing production plan as recommended by the Affordable Housing Trust and Planning Board, and authorize the Chief Executive Officer, Robin Grimm, to sign the required letter to the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, affirming the plan's adoption and enabling its submission for state approval.
Second.
I think we have to amend the motion just to say Chief Administrative Officer, because I think we're the Chief Executive. But otherwise,
With that amendment to the Chief Administrative Officer. Okay.
did second still stand, Mary?
Yes.
All right, all those in favor? Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, we are, Heather. Wally, we'll do these and then we'll go to you, even though I don't want to make you. All right, Heather.
Good evening. I will try to be relatively brief. You have my 3 monthly memos for May, April, and March. I think we actually still had snow in March, so moving on. I can tell you what's going on right now. Obviously, we have our street sweepers out on the roads. We are doing roadside mowing. We are cleaning catch basins. All of those things are, as soon as we can kind of get out there in the spring and do them, we are, just to try to be as most in compliance as we can with our MS4. Roadside mowing, as soon as, obviously, I've already getting calls, so I will let all the residents know that we are out in areas and we do area by area so that we can be most efficient. We have tried to tackle the knotweed, because if we don't get at that early, it really starts to block off some of our roadways. So we did go do knotweed in some areas, but we will be coming back to those areas again. We've also been doing a lot of trying to prepare for the parade with installing the banners and trying to do some beautification. You should see some more beautification, more flower plantings happening this week. We are picking up more plantings starting this week, and we are doing those internal.
Those are the adoptive spots.
The adoptive spots are being doing with the internal staff, so you will see some more of that happening this week. And of course, we have cleanup activities, trying to, we prepared for Memorial Day, and now we're preparing again for the parade. So that's basically a lot of what's been happening in town. You will also see some construction projects. Well, obviously, we have the construction project happening on Cedar Street with our sidewalk. I know it's being kind of disruptive at times and the traffic is hard, but we do need to work with our contractors to get that installed. It is moving along. They started to pour our concrete sidewalks today. So that's good news. I do expect that project will be winding up with the sidewalks, if not before July 4th, soon after. So that, those will
It's
be.
pretty quick though, right?
That is, it
It
actually
was
is pretty
when they
quick.
started.
I think they're
Yeah.
moving pretty fast.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I know it kind of took a while to start, but once it got going, it really went,
I
right?
did have a resident question that if we could wait till school was out, but what I explained to her is we're sort of at the whim of the contractors and weather. And
Yes.
if we miss a window, we can end up in
Yeah, I
trouble.
mean, it would
There
have
were a
been
lot
nice.
of, there was a lot of concern
Yeah,
around
it's
that.
unfortunate, but I just think it's one of those where we just have to deal with contractors and weather combined, and.
I spent some time out there today, and there were times when there was a lot of cars, but there was other times for like 15, 20 minutes, there was nobody. So it does kind of come in spurts, and they are trying to work around the times when there's a lot of traffic there and try to be very cognizant of it,
And
but
the police seem like they've done a good job with it. It's been flow in, flow out.
They've done a very
flow
good
in,
job, I
yeah.
thought.
So I guess it would be
is, we're not
better.
used to seeing construction, and it is disruptive, but the residents have been great down there. They're very supportive of the project. We're working with the businesses to make sure that they can stay open while we're pouring their sidewalks, so we're working well with that.
Yeah.
And so far, so good. Let's keep it moving.
So does the sidewalk connect, when you get, I can't remember.
It is going to connect to the existing sidewalk that's right near the bird store.
No, that was going on the other side. So is Burgess, when you take the right into
There
actually
is no
drive in,
sidewalks there. There's
yeah.
another project that's coming
Gotcha.
through
That's the other-
Safe Routes to
yeah.
School that's being designed through Mass DOT
Okay.
and installed through Mass DOT, and it will be likely a sidewalk or multi-use path on the far side as you turn in, following up that way. So
Okay.
they're in, I don't know, some 80, over 50% design. There was a lot of different options they looked at there, but I know that is still proceeding.
And that's as far as we're going up there, right?
That is as far as this phase. The second phase is designed to go all the way to the rec center, and we had put in for a grant. We didn't get that grant. We will put in for another Complete Streets grant to go up further, so that design has been done. There would be a
That's more
lot-
disruptive to the properties,
yes.
right? Because
Much more
that property
complication.
cuts more.
Yes.
We have
than-
There's
walls.
lots of retaining walls.
Yeah.
The estimate for that project was over $1 million, and that was before we have to replace the water line,
And
which
we've had
that
some
water
neighborhood
line would need to be
concerns
replaced.
already
Sure,
about
no,
that.
that's a
That's a much more
tough
challenging
project.
section.
Yeah.
Are they, I don't know, well, never mind. Okay, that was my question about that. Anything else on the sidewalks? Or-
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I know it's involved, but it would be nice when it can go all the way to the rec.
It would be.
Safer, much safer.
Yes.
Yeah.
In addition, you have on your agenda tonight to award a contract for our paving and reclamation and paving for this year. It's about $1 million worth. It's almost 2 miles worth of paving. Jacqueline's been extremely helpful in getting these all out. It was a very competitive bid process, so you have that memo. So residents should be knowing that will be coming. A lot of these are more on some of our more back roads, but they have gotten severely degraded that we probably wouldn't last through another winter on some of these roads. And also includes Maple Street, so Maple Street will be getting repaved, Jameson, all the way down to Taft, which will basically complete this area. Lead Mine, what we call Lead Mine South, is getting, the section that's really degraded, getting done. The Flam, and Stearns, I think, which is a little.
You have listed Lead Mine Road, Leno Road, LaFlame Lane, Jameson Road, Champeau Road West,
Champeau.
Stearns Drive, Maple Street.
Yep.
And I do want to say this came in less than.
Far less than
significantly
our
less.
estimate. We knew the estimate 2 million was high, but we didn't expect it to be down at close to $1 million, but we did receive many bids. We think that
Very
people are just
competitive.
it was very competitive. Between the next high was like less than 40,000. So pretty comfortable. We've done a lot of work with Mass Broken Stone in the past. They are pre-qualified through Mass DOT, which is a requirement when we're doing Chapter 90 projects. So I don't have any major concerns there. And I think that's the big part of my summary. I can answer any other questions.
Yeah, Robin, Kavian, any questions for Heather before we go?
No, I'm happy that those other beautification areas that were adopted plantings are going to be in before the parade.
Yes.
Yep.
Nice.
All right, so I think that's that. I'm also going to just go out of order a bit here because you do have you just mentioned the memo on the DPW for the contract for the Broken Stone company in the amount of $1,017,000. 1017, I can't talk, $1,017,264, that, you just explained, so probably makes sense to knock that off for you. Any questions about this, concerns, thoughts?
That's letter E.
For projects like these, are the residents impacted? Do they get like a timeline for when,
So
paving's happening?
once we get the contract finalized, which will still take a little while, this is just a notice of award, they get the paperwork and we get schedules, then we will go out and notify. I will say Jacqueline has taken a very proactive approach on Cedar Street, which I know she will with the other members, where she got their emails and she's telling them every week, at the end of the week, what's happening in the next week. So I think we'll be able to communicate to them, and they should look on the website, because we will keep that information up there, just for the general public too. Like, when they do lead mine, honestly, it's gonna have to be closed. We'll be rerouting traffic, so there'll be detours. La Flamme is the same way. When you get, we'll be telling people we're coming up there, but it's a little tiny dead-end road, so we'll let people know and get them in and out in the morning, and hopefully we'll be all set.
Okay, thank you.
All right, anything else? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that the board approve awarding the contract for the townwide full-depth reclamation FDR and paving project to Mass Broken Stone Company as the lowest responsible and eligible bidder for a total contract amount of $1,017,264.40.
A second?
Great, all those in favor? Great. All right, Shane, you want to come up?
Evening.
Hey, Shane, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Feels like it's been a minute. I don't know if that's true.
It's been a while. I did miss my last appearance. I apologize to the board.
Oh, nothing to apologize
Sounds
about.
like confession. It's been a while since my last confession. And I'm not even Catholic, and I know that much.
All right.
So you have my operation reports all the way through May. Nothing really outstanding there. The wastewater plant is performing the best that I've seen it perform since we did the upgrade back in 2012.
What's the reason for that, you think?
I don't know. So I don't know if you, I'll be honest with you, if you remember last year, I was sitting in front of you.
Luck.
Yeah, we had CBOD issues and we were violating, so we worked really hard this winter, doing jar testing, putting things in different locations, and it appears that that's panning out very well for us.
Okay.
What I judge the performance of the plant on is the clarity of the water going to the river, and it's the lowest I've ever seen.
Yeah.
So that's running really well, and we're passing CBOD. We haven't even really had any significant hits. So, and if you remember when Ty and Bond gave you a presentation, they're telling you that most of that equipment is getting towards the end of its useful life.
Yeah.
But we spent a lot of money keeping what we have running, so I can sit here and say to you that all the equipment down there is still running, but it comes at a cost, but we're meeting permit. So, Heather and I actually have some tour dates at other plants to look at screens, because we're going to replace the screens that were approved at town meeting. So things are going really well there. I'm pretty happy with it. The water plant, that filter upgrade is complete now. Spent a little bit more money than we thought, but they were in rougher shape than we thought. I mean, the vessels are 44 years old, right? So with that said, that probably buys you enough time now to design, plan, and budget for a new plant. I mean, you got to. It's,
Yeah.
the stuff in there is obsolete. The stuff in this year's budget to start doing sampling with Ty and Bond, come up with that analysis, come up with where you're going to put the plant. So all this stuff is now, will start going in motion.
So, question on that. The water building is in rough shape. So that no surprises there. In terms of the tie, and again, the Ty and Bond presentation it's helpful, but it's only helpful up to a point because you can't see exactly where the piece of the equipment is. But one of the questions that I had was when you look back at a lot of the, and they're probably just old, but it seemed like a lot of the fans and the HVAC units never got updated at any point. And it's probably well before any us were even really involved, to be honest. But
I've been here, I
yeah.
just, in May 30th was my 20th year here.
Yeah.
When I got here, those things weren't working.
That's what I'm saying. Is there any, and again, and it may not be worth it, it's like for the water building if you're gonna redo it, but there seem to be other properties that didn't seem to have any type of adequate or remedial ventilation.
So, and what'll happen with the new plant is the chemicals that are actually corrosive will be in their own room.
Sure.
Right now, the plant you have, and back in 1982, it probably wasn't a big thing, right? They put everything in one room. So when you start getting
I
corrosion,
think in 1982, they knew how corrosion worked.
I'm only telling you what I was left to work with, right? So, like, for example, we use lime, and lime creates dust. That is actually vented into the ceiling. It was never put outside. So over the last 44 years, that's accumulated dust up in the ceiling of the water plant. So that's just one of,
No, but the water plant I get, like, let's put that aside, because that's almost like almost an entirely different conversation on some
Okay.
level, because the building is so beat, like,
Right.
like that whole thing has to go.
so you're talking about the wastewater plant?
Just like kind of across the properties, just when you look at and it might have all been, again, because it was difficult for me to put it within context as to location within the presentation being made, even when I knew where the building was or where the location was. But I guess what I want to make sure of, and let's go at it this way because it's probably easier. I just want to make sure that when it comes to ventilation or moving air, when it's, again, you're not putting improper chemicals into place and you're violating some sort of creating a clean air issue, really, that if there are places as you move around, Shane, that have spot checks around, like, venting, even if it's, in the older buildings or even not even in the wastewater or wherever it may be,
Right.
just that we're hitting that out some, because it's not that, it would seem to me that the within the space we're dealing with all the moisture, chemicals, and heat changes from really ups and downs of cold, that if we have to make sure we're pulling air properly and creating adequate ventilation, which I think, and I suspect all the things I'm talking about probably were before you.
Right, so for example, the screens, part of that is HVAC, a new HVAC system for doing exactly what you said to make sure that it's venting properly.
Yeah.
One of the problems with the upgrade that we had in 2012 was, in the wintertime, when you're trying to suck all that air out,
Yeah.
you're sucking the heat out too.
Sure.
So it's a catch-22, right? So
Yeah.
you want the stuff to freeze and break, or do you want it to corrode?
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
gotta try and find that happy medium, and I'm assuming, and I'm sure Heather and I, when we get to that point, we'll make sure that that's gonna be adequate
Okay.
moving forward.
Yeah, and I don't want to take you side. I don't have a
Fine.
specific point but you get the.
No, and I
what
think
I'm
that's
saying.
what was given to you in that report. That's a lot of information, right? Because I know we worked with them building that
Yeah.
database, and I think you're just gonna have to take it project by project.
Yeah.
And look at each individual and, rely on Heather and I to make sure that we're doing our job and that the town's getting what it needs.
Okay. Great.
Because honestly, let's just put it out, you're gonna be spending a lot of money, right? I mean,
No, I know
it's the
that-
way it is, and you wanna make sure you're getting the biggest bang for your buck.
Yeah, no, I understand that. Okay, Mary, Katie?
No, I didn't have a
All
question.
right, keep
but
going,
that
Shane. I'm
was-
sorry, I didn't mean to
Yeah,
sidetrack.
that's fine. So the schools, there was a program through Mass DEP for free lead testing. I enrolled all the schools and the daycares in it. The schools were all notified. Basically, now the school takes it up with a third party that DEP has hired. So I've been doing lead testing since it came out at the schools. But this goes even a little bit further into they test each fountain and faucet to make sure that they're lead-free. And it's a free program through DEP. So schools should be working with them and hopefully making some progress on that. I don't believe that you're going to have any big issues. I will say that the corrosion control program that you've had since 1982 has worked really well. We don't have lead hits when we do the lead and copper sampling, and our copper limits are way below the required MCLs set by EPA and DEP, all right? PFAS, right? We're doing more monitoring. We're doing more monitoring than we have to. We finally got 3 filters back, and I want this board to be aware that blending, and I think you heard the engineers talk about blending, we've been through this before. We had perchlorate issues where we were able to avoid treatment by using more of the good source and less of the bad source. I can't make any promises, but that's what we're trying to do now, and when we do the sampling in July, that's gonna tell us if that's gonna be adequate, or if you're gonna end up having to do PFAS treatment too.
So what does PFAS treatment consist of?
There's a couple different options. I know carbon's one. There's some newer stuff coming out. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, because there's membrane technology coming out there too that, to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of, but the engineer seems to think it might be a good thing. So there'll be several different options, and I think what'll happen is you won't just pilot one technology, right? You're not gonna just build a plant, you're gonna pilot, you're gonna use different technologies, and out of that's gonna come what's the best and what's the most cost efficient.
Sure.
And then it'll be up to the board to decide which technology they use.
Okay.
All right? And the limits are dropping. So right now, you're in compliance. The limit's 20 parts per trillion, but it's gonna be dropping to 4. I was actually doing some research on it this morning, and it's not finalized, the rule's not finalized yet. Once that rule's finalized, I'll be able to give you a better understanding of exactly where you stand. EPA is trying to get rid of 4 other contaminants. Whether Massachusetts adopts that same regulation or not, I don't know.
I
But
think,
one-
yeah, they're not going.
Right.
And I hope they don't.
Yeah.
No, and then I thought Massachusetts was gonna be one of the strictest in the countries in my research this morning. It's not. There's other places in the country that are even going lower. So until that rule's finalized, until I have some more data, I won't be able to tell you exactly where you stand.
So, yeah, and I'm not surprised by that. But the part of the conversation around it that I think we had at the retreat was, I think it was the 4 wells, and one was sparking, and I understand your point about blending and that's just how dilution works. But when the tests, the tests are occurring in July itself, the next round of PFAS testing?
We're only required, I think, off the top of my head, to do 2 tests this year. We decided to test every well and both plants every quarter.
Okay.
So we're actually doing extra testing. And like I said, now I'm getting that 3rd filter back. Now I'm gonna turn down the bad well, run the good well more, and we'll see what happens.
Sure.
When we had the perchlorate issue, we did just that, and we were able to avoid treatment. And,
Yeah.
that's my job to, try and use
Calibrate
what
it,
we
yeah.
have to the best of our ability.
So it's going to be tested in July, and when do we get the results?
So any results that I've been getting have been put in my monthly packets. So when I get PFAS testing results, you guys get them in your packet so that you have them. So I believe in the April report was the last set of PFAS testing. Yes. So I'll test in July, and it should be able to be in my August report, which will be the next.
Because one well was at the maximum, and if you hadn't blended, then it is at the EPA maximum.
So on our to-do
Right?
list.
Just let me make sure I understand. So you test again in July, but at some point, aren't we just going to blend to the point where we're taking our good wells and now, their numbers are going to climb, or is that not how that works? And do we not want to treat just because of the cost involved, or does the treatment also bring some of its own side effects, if you
So there's
will?
other towns that are building plants for it right now, and they're spending a lot of money. I mean, I'm not gonna name, but a lot of money. So do I think you're gonna avoid treatment? Probably not. But am I gonna do my best to try and make it so that we don't have to treat? Absolutely, but I can't make any promises till I have more time to run with 3 filters, do more blending, and see where we come out. Now, well 4, I don't think is gonna be a problem, because it's had a few hits, but the last one was non-detected, it's well under the limit. Your biggest problem is well 1.
1, yeah.
Right? On our list, and when I say our, Heather and I, we want to talk to the DEP about maybe lowering how much water we take out of well 1, and then letting us run well 4 year-round, because right now, as we sit today, we're in the water ban, and I'm also have limits on well 4. I can only run it 5 days on, 5 days off. And how we got that limit was, we did some testing, and And basically, and Heather can back me up on this, their concern wasn't what we were doing at Hammond Brook, it was about how much water was going into the Quinnebog. So if we're willing to back off well one, which goes to the Quinnebog, and then take more, and run 4 more time, we're giving up water, but asking to get some in return.
Sounds
That's-
very reasonable to me.
That's very reasonable to me too, but
Okay.
I
It
don't.
doesn't mean different.
But it's also, it's just, but the larger point is beyond the reasonableness of the calibration, which I appreciate your point, Shane, is just that where this is going, one way or the other, especially as things dry out more.
Right.
They're gonna get concentrations. We are gonna looking at a more aggressive water filtration operation within
Well, I mean,
whatever period of
that's
time.
got to be a priority. I mean,
Well, and
nothing's
that's-
probably more important
and
than
that's
clean
part of the
water.
analysis that Time Bond's gonna, they'll be giving us a proposal to do, and they'll do an analysis on all of it, and then then the second phase, once they've got the data, which we have a pretty comprehensive database that goes back to when we've been in town, so we have 38 years worth of data, but PFAS testing just started, 7 or 8 years ago. So, the first step is to do the testing. The second step would be to do piloting to see which is going to be more efficient, and then you would design and build your plant based upon that.
Okay, so and just a random question, you said you didn't like the permeable membranes that did some, I guess it's an osmosis membrane or something?
I've been in
like
this business for 35 years now, and any place that runs membranes has a lot of problems maintenance-wise,
that?
so.
Unless there's a new technology.
And and on that, right, so and I'm not, Time Bond does a very good job here, but just remember, when it's new technology and you're the first guy to try it,
Yeah.
you pay the price, and a perfect example of that is your wastewater plant,
But
right?
that wasn't really, but my point was, that you're kind of anticipating my point, which is the balance here is to deal with our environment, our public health standards as related to our environmental standards with the river, and we're basically in fact finding at this point to determine what where things are going, which I think we all kind of know where things are going, because the research is all going to get better.
Right.
Everybody's going to point out that these are carcinogens. I don't want to steal the show for everybody,
And
but that's where it's
I'm
going.
just gonna put this out there, because here's one of my concerns, and I sat at the Centrum for a show, and I'm watching all these people, they're building these plants with PFAS removal, and the backwash water is going to the wastewater plant.
Sure.
So that means the PFAS is now going to your wastewater
Yeah.
plant, which you already have PFAS at your wastewater plant.
Sure.
So eventually, the wastewater plant's gonna get a PFAS limit, and you're gonna end up doing PFAS removal down there too, and it's not cheap.
Well, once we start doing all of that, then we're looking at this water reclamation altogether, aren't we?
I don't know if we'll ever get to that point in my career, to be honest with you, but it is a thing, it's a bigger thing more out west where they.
Yeah, but no, but once you start processing your waste, I'm not saying
Right.
totally, but once you start
And I don't
processing
want to
your
gross
waste at that
people out,
level.
but honestly, the water leaving the wastewater plant, it meets the drinking water standards.
Sure.
And I hate to say that, but honestly.
Nobody wants to hear that.
We test for E. coli, it's in our permit every week, we test for E.
Oh, yeah.
coli in
But
the water.
environmentally, that's wonderful.
And it's
I mean,
zero.
It really is.
Right?
No, I mean, chlorine's a hell of a, but I mean,
Well, we don't even use
I
chlorine
know,
here.
but
We
it's-
use UV light, so it's just, there's gonna be a lot going on in the next couple of years.
but gun to our head, if we had to build a plant right now, you're saying, and money's not an issue, you're saying a carbon filter plant is the way that you do that, and you just bring in different medium.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you, I'm not an expert in the PFAS removal, so I'm not comfortable saying that that's gonna be what you're gonna need. I think, again, you need to do the analysis, and to me, the biggest step is piloting. Pilot this technology, what's the cost, and what's it gonna cost you to run, and then you make a decision off of that.
But Heather's nodding back there. Do you think that's the gold standard, the
I
carbon?
think it's the known standard.
Oh, the-
Carbon treatment has been around for a very long time to remove all sorts of contaminants. The biggest problem is what you do, what the cost is, and how much it costs to rehab it.
Yeah, because you gotta replace the
medium.
medium.
I get it, but I think most residents,
But it would require.
Would make this a
it's
priority.
It's not just carbon that we put on the end of our existing plant. We're talking a complete new plant. We're talking.
I understand.
new
Yeah, I mean, we might,
For our water, whether it's green sand or whatever treatment is above that, and then it's another step of
Yeah, I don't think it's once you get to that, that's why I say cost not an issue, because that, what we're talking about would require wholesale redesign of the entire wire system. Like, it's like,
Yeah, and let's just be clear, right now, you're well under the standard. The
No,
standard's
I
20
get it.
parts per trillion, and you're running around 4 or 5.
no, I'm not being chicken little with it, but this is the type of conversation, that should have been happening 30 years ago with some of this stuff. Not PFAS.
Not all of it, right, but yeah, no.
But the capital planning piece of this is why we're getting nailed by it, and we are not going to increase service our way out of this.
Right.
And it's so, and frankly, everything is getting drier. And so we're gonna have to consider, shooting water into the river maybe we're never gonna be at a scale where that's not the thing to do, but
So what'll
World
happen,
wouldn't.
so just so you understand what'll happen eventually, when they make the new final rule, if you're over that final rule, you'll get an administrative consent order in which you come up with a schedule for engineering, piloting, full-blown being online.
yeah, no, but what's gonna happen is that it's gonna happen across the board to everybody. So the extent, even though cash is still expensive right now, and I'm not particularly interested in having this making that type of investment, but by the same token, it's a hard balancing act, especially with where the rates are going is the other
And
part
I
of
do
all
think
this.
that the Commonwealth at some point, and what I think we're gonna have to fight for, and we have to look to MMA to fight for, to Mass Municipal, is some sort of funding or assistance on this. I mean, we talk about all sorts of other funding. It's wonderful we fund libraries. It's wonderful that we fund schools as a Commonwealth.
Sure.
But clean water statewide
Fundamental.
needs to be looked at, and, I mean, we're a relatively fortunate municipality. Other municipalities have far less financial resources, and remediation is expensive no matter what
Yeah.
town. So I mean, we do monitor, we keep barking up that tree is something that I think we also have to keep an eye on, is, pressuring the state, working with our state delegation to say, look, we all are gonna have this problem collectively. This just isn't Sturbridge. In fact, we're in better shape than
Well,
that.
the problem actually is worse than that, and I'm more cynical than you, is that we are in the region that provides all of Boston's water.
Yeah,
So it isn't.
it's
So
pretty
it's a different,
serious.
it's a different kettle of fish. Anyways, that's all.
And
Thank you,
honestly,
Shane.
I don't think people quite understand how fast things dry out. I mean, a couple of weeks ago, things are pretty full.
Right.
You get some warm weather, and I look at the stream gauges on a daily basis, that's my job. And it goes,
It was 97 degrees in June.
right,
That's not normal.
no. So, and we didn't get a lot of snow. I mean, Heather will tell you, we
No,
got
but-
plenty.
Yeah.
So, like I said, there's gonna be a lot of moving parts in the next couple of years, and I just wanted to make sure that, the board's aware of it, and I believe that you are. The only other thing I had for you is we started doing hydrogen sulfide treatment, which is what causes the odors over on Hall Road. The engineers had that pegged at 1.2 million. We did it in-house for, not to the extent they would have, but we got it up and running for about $5,000-6,000. So hopefully, as it gets warmer, and we just had some warm weather, the odors from that Hobbs Brook pump station, the one on the corner of Hall and 131, and I know you run by there all the time, we shouldn't be getting that odor anymore. And not only is it removing the odor, it's removing the hydrogen sulfide, which is what causes all the corrosion in the pipes and the structures.
Okay.
Because it was intense for a while.
Yeah, when we started adding it a couple months ago, and this is just phase one. If this works, then we're gonna need to move further back, as far as maybe back to Walmart Plaza, because it's not just about the odor, again, it's about removing the hydrogen sulfide, and that's why you had just reline all the pipes on Route 20 that we just paid to reline. It's directly related to hydrogen sulfide. We continue to do camera work and identify problem areas as required in the DEP permit. So we're ahead of the curve on that.
Oh, thank you, Shane.
Is the source for that just in the actual water, just the minerals in the
It's
water?
just, it's from the wastewater, hydrogen sulfur gas comes off. So what happens when the pipes aren't full, the wastewater is able to gas off and it corrodes everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's all I had for you this evening.
No, thanks, Shane. Anything else, guys?
Good, thank you.
Larry?
No, thank you,
Okay,
very
thank you.
thorough.
Have a good night.
Appreciate you. We're gonna again go out of order, so we don't have to hold Wally any longer than we need to. So I guess it's technically we're going to new business, although so Wally, come on down and we're, I think this is the new business on the monuments, memorials, and committee discussion.
Well,
Okay.
These are the longest nights of committee reports we've had.
Yeah,
Hearings
pretty
and
much all committee
committee.
reports.
Except, what's it? No.
No, yep, Jamie told.
Hi, I'm Wally Hersey, if you don't know. I'm the chairman of the Monuments, Memorials, and Markers Advisory Committee. I'm here tonight to advise, inform, and also I'm here for Blessings Acquisition as well.
Okay.
I just want to let you know, this is the first slide here. About several weeks ago, we had the Liberty Tree was planted on the town common, and also with that tree came a bronze plaque, and Robin has it in her office. It's not, the wording is the same, but it's about 8 inches long by about 4 or 5 inches wide, and it's made to go onto a stone. That stone was quarried from my imagination, and I asked Brian Kerboy at the DPW, and Brian has a couple of stones in mind that would be appropriate, that would not be a trip hazard, that would be on there, similar to what we have in the witness tree across Charlton Street, the same type of thing. But we wouldn't have to go through a monument company. I just wanted to let you folks know what we had in mind for that too. Robin wants to be able to do some sort of a children's essay thing towards the end of the summer, beginning of the school year. So whoever, they can be involved with that, and also that's the time we would dedicate that plaque and everything
Sometime
else.
in early to mid-September. Kind of close out the 250th.
And the next, that's with the Liberty Tree. Any questions about the Liberty Tree plaque or anything like that before I go on to the next slide?
No, the only thing I'd ask is if we can just kind of make it kind of subtle to the extent without making it a trip hazard, just because it.
Yes, and that was just, as I said.
No, I know, I'm not worried about
Exactly,
that.
no, and subtlety is great with keeping with this in safety thing. I
You
agree
don't
with you,
want it
Jim.
all lighted up in neon and flashing.
No, I just mean,
People go by.
I always find,
Doo, doo,
I think that
doo,
like what I love about is when you kind of find, like when you're walking around and you sort of see it on the ground and it sort of fits,
Little
like,
subtle.
that's all.
Yes, I agree with that entirely. The next
Don't worry,
thing is.
the earth settling will take care of it for us.
Several weeks ago, these pictures were taken last year. Several weeks ago, we had an incident down here where the Krupp Capillo Memorial is on Old Route 15. And this is what it would look like 12 months ago. What ended up happening was, we were thinking what may have happened is a truck was making a U-turn, and he backed up and knocked this thing over, because the boulders on either side of this thing, where they were set, as you saw in the previous slide, would have prevented that. Or you had gone at such a high rate of speed that there should have been a fatality there.
There'd have been a report on
That
that,
plinth
yeah.
right there is solid concrete. It's 4 feet tall. It's solid. It goes down below the grade at least 3 feet in a corrugated berm type of thing. The bronze here and the bronze plaques did not suffer much damage at all. The only thing that got damaged is the plinth itself, the concrete plinth, which we have I have a resolution for that. And all the other things are fine. They can be buffed up and made to look pretty again. This is how close to the street it is. There's the edge of 15. It's about 8 to 9 feet away from the road. Actually, when it was placed there, it should have been placed back further as a safety thing. You see that the actual bronze here is in good shape. There is a big chip coming out of the plinth here. Looking back from the woods, that's where it sits right now. And there's also like a U-shaped type of old road here, and all the landscaping is all out of control now. It looked very pretty when it was planted, but it just hasn't been really kept up. And I do see the DPW down there mowing and taking care of a lot of stuff, but it's kind of hard to stay on top of it. So my plan is, and I'd like to be able to present it to the select board, is I ran it by Heather already, and she's all for it. She has no problems with it at all, is to actually take this and move it from its existing position here close to Route 15, or Haines Street, and move it back 12, 15 feet, and get it off the road here. And then whatever, I think that would make it a lot safer, number one, for the cars going by there. We wouldn't have the issues with the cars, the trucks pulling U's again, although that was sort of an aberration. No, I don't think it was something that we were expecting to see ever happen. And as I was talking to Joe on the way in, he says he doesn't even think if the truck even knew it happened. Probably. If he didn't even feel it. So what would you do to make the plinth pretty again? As I said, this is harvested from my imagination. Stone veneer would be good. It wouldn't be this exact same stone veneer. It'd be more something more New England type. But when you moved it back, you could take the stone veneer, which is very easy to apply, and put it on there at the mortar. It would dress it up really nice. The bronze plaques we would remove, we would fix them up, put them back on when the thing is done, when the plinth is done, and then we would reutilize the semicircular benches that are already in place there. These are same style, but they have wooden slatted tops and everything. We could make them better. We can still make them fine. And they've been there for 20 years, but we can still make them look okay. But this, and somehow even maintain this. So if people do want to drive by there and they want to sit down, they want to enjoy the moment or whatever they were doing, they're away from the road and away from the hazards of the
It's
street.
safer for bicycles as well going
Yes,
by
exactly
there,
right.
everything.
Exactly right. And it's a great resting spot for the bicyclists on the road. And that's all I had to share. Does anybody have any?
So basically you're looking to move the thing back, but just stone, but still stone, not cement, which probably is nicer looking anyways.
Right.
And then are you clear, do you want to clear to the left and right?
Actually, this is when I was processing
That just
it's
continued.
just all the vegetation disappeared, and it was. But what I'd like to be able to do is bring it back maybe 12 feet, maybe 15 feet, dig another hole. Heather said that her machine can lift up the straps, drop it back in that hole, re-landscape the area at all. There's two trees that are there that are older that can be pruned and made pretty again. And then we can just put down some plantings and some mulch, and that's it. And then whatever the cost would be for polishing up the bronzes, and I think that could be something we could absorb.
That was really my question, was about the trees, because they seemed like they were nice.
Yeah, that was just the way it came out. But that would be it. I think we could handle it. I just think it was one simple thing to solve a problem that's probably been waiting to happen for a number of years.
Yeah, it is strange that it was put where it was, really, no.
It's very close to the road when you look at it.
Okay, I have no issues with that. I don't know that you necessarily, do you need anything specifically from us?
No, just blessings, and we'll figure out, as far as costs go, as far as the veneer and things like that go, we'll figure it out and take it from there. Okay?
Mary,
Thanks, Mr. Hersey, and thanks again for the Hometown Heroes.
Oh,
Really, you and
your great
Crystal.
idea. It was wonderful. It came together so well.
We're able to it just took a team of people, and that team of Memorials and Monuments has just been tremendous, Crystal. They just.
And we had an awful lot of interest since then online. I've been,
Very
a lot of
excited
people
about it.
commenting on it, and I think we're gonna have a good
I
season
posted it
next
the
year.
other day, the post blew up, I think more than any post I've put up.
Yeah,
So-
it's wonderful.
No, I agree. A lot of people feel
Very
strongly
exciting.
about the
Yeah.
Yeah.
program, and
All right,
it's
well,
great.
thank you so much.
Thank
You're very welcome. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Hard work.
All right.
Thanks, Mr. Hersey. You're skipping?
Yep, skipping B. All right, so we are now, let me get organized here. All right, we've done B. We did C. Okay.
B is being held.
All right, D,
Yep.
so move that the select board, acting as local licensing authority, consider and determine whether to opt into or decline participation in the ABCC Summer 2026 pilot program until July 31st, 2026, and if opting in, to specify whether the town will authorize on-premises licenses to extend alcohol service by 1 hour, not to exceed 3 a.m., establish a designated public alcohol beverage consumption area with conditions set by the board, and further authorize the town administrator to implement the board's decision and submit the required notification to the ABCC. So I'm assuming this is about the World Cup.
Yeah, so we were asked to put this on agendas. It was sent out to us by ABCC. I am not necessarily suggesting that we do this. We don't have bars. And I think
Not
this
really.
is
I don't
really
think
for
anybody-
places that have bars that are open
Yeah,
till
and,
2, and now
you
they
know,
can be
2
open till
2 a.m.
3.
's plenty late enough.
No, it's
don't
for the
need
city for the
3
World
a.m.
Cup.
I-
Yeah,
so
this,
that makes,
it's
that's
just
a
they
totally
put it out
different.
statewide, asked us to put it on agendas. I'm putting it on an agenda. I'm not necessarily sure
And-
that we need to do this in
And
Sturbridge.
designated public alcohol.
We already have the
Have that.
common
We have
during,
the common,
yeah,
so
is that's
if we
already
wanted to
open.
play the World Cup final, I guess on the common we could. But
I'll
I think we're
we'll
fine. I don't think we
decline
need
on
to do it. I'm just gonna, do you guys feel just declined to do anything?
No, I mean, do you want a
Just take no
motion
action.
saying that we
Nope.
don't want them?
Nope,
I don't think
just
we
take
give
no
any
action.
No action.
I mean, there's nobody that would really,
Yeah, and we haven't ever received any application for anyone looking.
Nobody has
to-
asked, and I don't really think we're harming any local businesses by not.
Yeah, I completely, yeah.
it's,
If we had bars and nightclubs, it might be
Right,
different, but we
right.
don't.
no, this is, if you're in,
Worcester, I know Worcester
Yeah.
just approved
yeah,
that
or
though.
if
Yeah,
I was just
Worcester,
gonna say, if
Boston,
you have all
Springfield.
the Scottish in town for the,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Boston did,
Right.
it's a different thing.
Yeah, I'm not seeing us
Yeah,
partying in
so-
the streets of Sturbridge at 3:30, 3 o'clock in
All
the
right.
morning.
Consideration and possible action on authorizing town administrator to sign a contract from the lowest qualified bidder. Oh, yeah, we
Yep,
did.
that was, oh, did you actually take the vote? Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you did. No,
Yeah,
I
we
don't-
did, we
yeah, you
did on
You
the
took
stone,
vote,
yeah, we
yes.
did. Consideration and possible action on appointing Santiago Gonzalez to the Agricultural Commission for a term to expire June 16th, 2028. Any questions?
I'll make a motion that we appoint Santiago Gonzalez to the Agricultural Commission with a term expiring June 16th, 2028.
A second?
All right, all those in favor? Those are good. Okay. Then we are on to consideration and possible action on appointing Seth Manser to the Agricultural Commission for a term to expire June 16th, 2028.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Great. Consideration and possible action on the issuance of a one-day liquor license to Rushford Sons Brewhouse LLC for the Sturbridge Farmers Market Sundays, July 2nd, 19th, 26th of 2026. So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? One abstention?
Yep. You still have you have a majority of the quorum, so
Yeah, that's fine.
201.
Yeah.
Francis.
Consideration and possible action on issuance of a one-day liquor license to Deep Roots Distillery for June 27, 2026 for the Sturbridge 250th celebration on the town common from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. All right,
I'll make a motion.
I'll second. All those in favor? 2-0-1. Consideration and possible action on the issuance of a one-day liquor license to Deep Roots Distillery for October 17th and 18th, 2026 for the Sturbridge Harvest Fest on the town common from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m.
So removed.
I'll second that motion. All those in favor? And one abstention?
I just have a quick question on one of them, on Robin. So like, for the 250th celebration, that's a long time, 12 to 6. Is there going to be some kind of a, like a wristband that people are maxed out at 2 drinks? Or are they going to be able to get 3, 4, 5? Like, what is Deep Roots going to do to make sure they're not like
I don't know, I can find out, I mean, they're all tip certified, so they do have,
Yeah.
they bear the responsibility, they are tip certified.
Still on our property, though.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious what they're going to do
I mean, we
to
do for the
monitor
farmer's
that.
market, we allow pouring, I think, so let me just confirm what,
I don't think they
Is it
allow us
pouring on
pouring on
farmers
this farm. I mean, they allow pouring at the
Yeah.
I'm sorry, on the common generally.
yeah, the farmer's market, yeah.
I've never been to the farmers market and seen anybody have I've seen them do samples, but I've
I
never.
think they'll do a sample and then sell the bottle
Yeah, but
alone.
they don't.
Yeah.
The only
Yeah, that's different though
that's
than what
totally
he's
different.
talking about.
Yeah, let me find
So
out.
they
It's
haven't-
not going to be samples, these are going to be
So
regular drinks.
and it's not, and because it's not beer, I mean, not that you can't get drunk on beer, but but a distilled,
Yeah, let me find out.
distillery is a whole other kettle.
They, but they do all have to, yeah, they all are tip certified, but I'll find out what
No, I
yeah,
understand
yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we haven't had issues with the other vendors that have poured beer, but because it's spirits, we really need to be
Yep.
careful. I think it's a really good point, Mary. And Grant, they've been great too. I don't think we've had any issues with
Nope.
local roots, right?
No,
Not
at all.
Just because it's a lot.
in fact, they run our harvest festival. We
Yeah,
haven't
I
had
know,
any issues,
but
but that's a different,
but
yeah.
because it's 6
Yep.
hours in the afternoon in the sun, we just want people
Yeah,
to be.
and actually, it's theoretically gonna be 1 to 6, so just for, it's there for 12, but just so you are aware of.
Just-
Okay, so it's 5 hours.
It's
not
5 hours, still
Yeah.
5 hours of drinking,
But
yeah.
just make sure
In the
that
sun.
they're just aware of the concern.
Yep,
They've been a
absolutely.
good partner. They're very
Yep,
professional.
I will definitely pass that along.
Consideration and possible action on the issuance of a hawker and peddler license to Dennis Walsh Farm Stand.
Oh,
and
did you do
entire
Jay?
village. Did I skip one?
Yeah, Jay was the other Deep Roots one for the harvest.
Oh,
Fest.
there's two. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, I.
Oh, we did it.
Oh, we did both,
we
okay, okay.
Consideration and possible action on the issuance of a hawker and peddler license, Dennis Walsh Farm Stand, at Empire Village parking lot on Route 20 for the sale of fruits and vegetables from July 1st through October 1st of 2026. Excuse me. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we issue a hawker and peddler's license to Dennis Schwall's Farm Stand at Empire Village parking lot, Route 20, for the sale of fruits and vegetables, July 1 through October 1, 2026. This marks the beginning of summer. This is where we got the corn on the cob.
I'll second.
Katie, I'll second. The only your part about summer.
Yeah,
All those in favor?
Yeah.
Ayes have it. Consideration and possible action on the reappointment of Michael Hager and Mary Carolyn Porter to the Finance Committee with terms to expire on June 30th, 2029. Do we have a motion?
These are appointed by the,
Yeah,
Yeah.
FinCom.
I'll make a motion for the reappointment of Michael Ager and Marilyn Carolyn Porter to the Finance Committee with a term to expire on June 30th, 2029.
Second.
All in favor? Great. And then I will make a motion to accept the resignation of Christopher DeRose from the Finance Committee as of July 1st, 2026. Do we have a second? All those in
Okay.
favor? And thank you for his service.
Yep.
Old business. Well, I guess this is appropriate. Where are we with St. Anne's, Robin?
so Heather met with the pastor, both pastors, I believe, on Wednesday morning. Last Wednesday morning, I believe they met. We are going to work with them to do a paving or resurfacing of the road up, that portion of road that was of concern.
Well, that was my old business.
Excellent.
Do we need to take any action for action item B?
No, I'm handling that, so.
Okay.
We just pulled it. All right.
And then we will continue to work with the church and our attorneys on correcting the old easements that were never done right back in 1930, whatever.
Yeah, in the 30s.
In the
I mean, they've been a good partner. It was pretty much an arm shake, so we
Yeah.
would be good to get that straightened out.
All right, and there's that. All right, Katie, any old business?
Was there any update from MassDOT on the Walker Pond wells? Did we?
Not since we, oh, I believe that she did she send you some information? I'll check. I believe they sent some information on the details on the people involved. But I will check back through my emails too. I thought she did.
Oh, I thought they were going to come back with that information
No,
to
I
a
think
hearing.
I think they were just gonna send it back to us to officially list the names.
If I saw that, I didn't
Okay.
receive it, so it's,
I left it with them as they needed to send us a list of all names
Okay.
of people eligible and already involved.
And they're probably going through it, engineering and everything right
Yes.
now, because that was their next step,
Yes, to
right?
move through the continuation of the design,
Yeah.
yes,
So to make sure that project keeps moving, so.
yes.
Yeah.
Mary Down?
Old business?
Yeah.
No.
All right, new business, Mary Down?
So the Special Events Committee was always 5 members. We went up to 6 when the member who was getting off, she was the representative from the Cultural Council, but she wanted to stay on, she was very active, so we moved to 6. We were requesting, I thought it might have been on tonight, that's okay.
But you can put it, yeah.
Oh, can we do it now, or does
You
that
can
have
put
to be
that
an
under new
agenda item?
business. No, I think that's
All right,
fine.
so the special events would like to go back to 5. We're having somebody very interested in one spot, but if we keep it at 6, we have 2 openings. We have a hard time having a quorum with 2 openings. 4 people have to be present all the time. So I guess I'm going to ask the board to go back to what it was originally.
I
The
guess,
original size was 5 members.
so I guess the point is, I get, the best way to frame it maybe would be to say, to have Robin find one new member? So-
One new
what we need is
member,
one new member.
but
Yeah.
also I think we moved as a board to make it
Yeah.
6. So
The
we need
original-
to go back
yeah,
to 5.
The original documentation for it was the town administrator created committee. So effectively, you simply allow the town administrator to restructure the committee to 5. And that keeps it less
Okay,
complicated, I
do you want a
think.
motion on that?
I don't think I need a motion.
Okay,
I might
so
think so, yeah.
support for 5
Yep,
people.
support for 5.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
I think that's it for me.
Uh,
I'm sorry, when do you want her new, because I don't have them tonight. I don't know if I should have already turned them in.
Yeah, I was, with that, I was gonna, I guess not really new business, but it's, I do need the,
Okay.
I've only gotten it from Mary Lou.
Okay, I can do it this week. I've been kind of busy, but
Yeah.
in time for,
And I'll
within
remind,
a week, I'll have you. the
I'll remind
numbers.
Chase, but it's just a little cumbersome because, I can't really text you guys about it,
Right, yeah.
without, with it
Okay, so 1 week.
Trains. Thank you for that, Mary. Any other new business, Katie?
No.
All right, I have no new business that I don't think we've discussed. We did the monuments, correspondence.
Yeah, this is good news. This is something Heather has been working on with Trails, Tom Chamberlain, myself, DOT. This is all about connectivity and connecting across 84 for the trail system coming down the
nice.
river. We're very excited. It also, and I have a few residents that have been very concerned about the intersection of River and Haynes because it has had some dangerous situations. This will also impact that in a positive way.
How so?
It's going to narrow that intersection a little. So in order to make it safe for people to walk, make this a walkable connection, it's also going to require the intersection to be like a much lower speed road diet type intersection. So it's going to change the whole nature of that intersection for driving as well, for the better.
Yeah.
So it's great news that they're going to fund it. We're thrilled. I was not sure that we would ever see this funding because
And when will this all happen?
it'll probably be within, a year or two. They're going to design, formal design work and whatnot. It's in DOT's hands, but we're very thankful that they're funding this.
Nice.
Yep.
Minutes, May 30th, 2026. Any changes?
Oh, this is our retreat.
Any edits? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the May 30th minutes as written.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? All right, moving on to the June 1st, 2026 minutes.
First or
I
second?
think it was second. So that's the first typo I would make. Correction.
It was the first.
It was the first or the second? I think it was the second, but I might be wrong.
Was it June 1st? It was June 1st, I thought.
Okay, well, so the,
Oh, look at the calendar. June 1st.
okay, so then the minutes are right.
The agenda's
That was my
wrong.
son's birthday.
All right, do we have any edits to this?
Run here from there. I remember.
Hold on. Can I go back to one?
Sure.
Hold on.
Which pages are we on?
If we can, I'm going to make a motion to reconsider our approval of the minutes of May 30.
How so?
Okay. All right, so under beautification of gateways to Sturbridge and improvements of appearance, I'm just going to ask that we scratch that sentence and say it in a slightly different way, which would be Clerk Dowling requested that we seek additional contractors in the future. I think it says the same thing, but
Yeah, cleaner.
and a little cleaner, a little
Yeah,
more subtle.
I think that's what you said. Okay.
Oh, okay, I didn't know, because I didn't, so you heard, okay, awesome.
All right, with that, I will make a motion to adopt the amendment to the May 30th, 2026 minutes as noted by Select Person Dowling. Do we have a second?
A second.
All those in favor? Great. Back to our June 1st. Any edits? Hearing none, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the June 1st, 2026 meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
All those in favor? Great.
Very thorough notes, thank you.
Yeah.
We did get another correspondence, which, was this This is new, right?
What?
The abatement
Oh,
request?
no, that's the one from last week. I'm still
Yeah,
working with
that's
the
on hold.
last
Yeah.
meeting.
Oh, okay, this isn't an additional comment?
Yeah, that's,
Because.
That's just follow-up material.
This is follow-up, but, this did interest me, this is new, no?
She added information that was,
Correct.
that's why it was on the agenda, it was
So-
given to you as part of an
well,
agenda item.
it'll be on a future agenda.
Oh, it will?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
um,
that was
our-
originally part of the packet for the item, that's all.
But there's additional information. she
It's still in
provides.
process. All right, Citizens Forum.
Nice seat to be.
I know, just identify yourself for the record, sir.
Yeah, thanks for recognizing me. My name is Peter Mimo, 76 South Shore Drive, Sturbridge. I am here representing the pastor of St. Anne's Outdoor Shrine and Church, 16 Church Street in Fitzgill. So I have only this prepared, so it should go pretty quick.
Okay, yeah, go ahead, Peter.
So as you recall, it was discussed at the last time we approached you like this at the Citizens Forum, that all matters concerning this would be addressed here. Because
Right,
as water
yeah.
commissioners, you felt this is where they needed to be addressed.
Yeah, I think that where we left it basically was the lawyers were going to review it and then double back and then we discuss it here.
Yeah, hopefully there's been some action. It's been 3 months, so we're ready to give a little update from our side anyway.
Please.
So the town has recently reached out to the pastor and requested a meeting to discuss the repair of the access road from Church Street to the town water tank site. The overall road on the bishop's property is about 700 feet long, but as per our focus at the last meeting with you and here tonight, we wish to focus on only 100 feet of roadway that has caused us to block off a walking path that does not have an appropriate surface for visitors to use. This 100 feet aligns with the 1933 right-of-way easement, which was authorized by the water commissioners to construct underground water lines and access path. At last week's meeting, the intent was made clear to us that the town will prepare a set of plans to repair the pavement. We are very pleased that the town has recognized that this is something that protects the underground water pipe and stabilizes the road surface. This seems to answer the question that we posed to the water commissioners 3 months ago, and once again, request an operation and maintenance document for the bishop's records so that this section of pavement does not deteriorate in the future. There was also interest by the DPW director in discussing additional easements from the bishop for the town to use other land that is not part of the 1933 commissioners' taking for water infrastructure. After the meeting, the parish staff determined that until we see the operational and maintenance procedures for the 100 feet, it is hard to negotiate additional easements both beyond and below the 100-foot section that is critical to the outdoor shrine. What we asked the water commissioners to help us with 3 months ago is to review their oversight of the 100 feet. We are concerned that expanding the effort to include an additional 600 feet will delay the resurfacing effort, and the outdoor shrine paths will remain closed until late fall, if not into the spring of 2027.
Okay.
If today, or at the next meeting, we hear that the water commissioners are initiating the easement expansions, then we wish to be placed on a future select board meeting agenda with presentations by the parish and by the town to be able to understand your plans. Thank you.
I mean, I think that's the first I'm hearing about an expansion of an easement unless I'm missing something.
Well, Robin just brought it up.
Well, no, I mean, tonight's the first I meant. So that.
So we're paving it, so that's one.
100 feet.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, initially, the concern that was only going to be gravel, that it's not going to adequately protect the water. So we have the paving. So then I heard the second request is some kind of maintenance document to show that we will maintain it now and that it won't fall into disrepair again. Is that basically the step two?
That's the same thing we asked for last time. That was the
Yeah,
key.
well, but last time, we hadn't agreed to pave, so I feel like we've made quite a bit of progress.
That's correct.
Okay, yeah,
This
so,
this is wonderful progress because even if you hadn't agreed to pave, we still needed your policy on that 100 feet is your responsibility to maintain the surface because your water pipe is there. So it's not saying what condition it has to be, other than a good condition. And it is not in a good condition, so that's why we're
But
crossing over who's
I get it,
responsible.
but like, I think once the town agrees to pave, just like when we pave other roads, and I
Yes.
know this is different, but it's implied that it's going to be maintained once it's paved.
It's more than implied, I think
It's-
we're obligated in
We're
here.
obligated, but I mean, what I mean by implication is, even without an express agreement,
Yeah,
of
it's our-
course, when we pave, we need to maintain.
Right, but
Because
the,
it's in our best interest too, because it's costly.
Yeah.
So,
So the
I mean-
requirement for it to be memorialized in an operation document beyond even the expression in this meeting, that doesn't even seem necessary, Peter. I understand that it might be more comfortable to you guys, and we can, I'm not even getting to that. But we've made but the larger concern here, I'm stepping back from it, is this putting even beyond the easements or that, because I don't have an opinion on any of that, we've agreed to pave it, then the question is, when is it gonna get paved so parishioners can use it? I mean, that's the largest,
that's correct.
like, that's, putting it all
Imminent.
aside, the technical.
Imminent, it's on.
I would see,
Yes,
like-
it's on the front burner.
Okay.
They were there- She was there Wednesday.
Well, if I,
so
if I
within
might.
within a month, right? Within
I
a few
can't
weeks,
guarantee
or, it's
specifically,
not a
but-
year from now. I mean,
No,
it's,
no, it is near future.
yeah,
Yes.
that's how I
This-
took
This
it.
paving season, this season.
yeah.
It's like, so, then Peter, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not as good a Catholic as I ought to be on that. But the busy season for the shrine is the fall, it's when a lot of people come? Like
Next
around-
month, there'll be over 1,000 people visiting for the
Yeah.
novena, 9-day novena. It's our busiest time of the year, and that particular statue that people walk off the back and go down that hill, it's out of commission.
I would imagine
Right,
that
it
was,
is.
that was discussed at the meeting, though, I would imagine.
No.
Okay, so
Okay,
that,
so
Well, I will share that with Heather then. She's,
So
she's,
hold on, let me
Oh,
just,
it's been shut down.
I'll just make a motion that the town paves this roadway well in advance for it to be utilized by the parish for the upcoming novena.
within
Gonna
3
hap-
weeks?
Not gonna
Within,
happen.
weather permitting.
well, of
Yeah.
course, it's all, weather permitting.
I can't.
It's a very short,
Have materials, like,
I mean, it's a
I get you.
very short road. I mean, it's not a huge,
It's 100 feet, but it's, how
it's a-
can
I'm
you get
not-
that to happen? I don't, you can do whatever you want, but I don't think it's realistic.
you don't think it's realistic?
No.
That's gonna happen in 3 weeks? I probably would think it's probably not realistic myself, without knowing what the other,
Well, I don't know, because she said, well, we were there yesterday, so I mean,
let's
By the way.
just hold a second.
Yep.
Let's just get an answer from Heather tomorrow about when it'll be
that's,
paved.
yeah, I'm putting a note.
Because that's, I mean, without knowing, because we can't
Okay.
make a motion.
well, I know, that's why when she says it's on the front
Because there
burner,
might be there might be things
To
that
me,
even
that's
you
like
wouldn't
in
want.
the month.
You know what I mean? There might be, I just don't know what's going on well enough to have that opinion.
No, I'm just, my reaction was, we would want it to be paved as soon as possible.
Right.
Absolutely, I agree with you. If you
Yeah.
could do it in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever, just not during the novena.
Oh,
oh, I'm sorry, I thought you wanted to try to have it done before.
No.
Oh, well, we
No,
can
no.
definitely agree that we're not going to
Concerned
disrupt it.
it's going to be bid out, and then it will be planned out, scheduled out, and it will be more in the fall before.
She would not set a date without confirming with you that it's acceptable with the church.
Yeah, she's not going to have trucks and paving it
Oh, I
while
understand
you're
that.
having.
Too, so
Understand
she
that.
gets it.
It's the combination of the easements. If I could just go over that specific point, it's not doing the 100 because you want to negotiate easements for the
I
700.
don't think that that's
no
realistic. From
quid
our
pro
perspective,
quo.
we're not
Yeah.
leveraging.
No, there is no quid pro
We have
quo,
to,
Mr. Moore.
we have to pave the 100 feet. It should have been paved last year.
The easement
That's-
question,
It's the way to our water tower.
the
so I mean,
easement
it's-
But you
question
can
is
still get there.
mutually
No, I
acceptable.
know.
On a walking path for
I
pilgrims.
know, but
Yeah.
It's not,
we need
not
to be able to
adequate,
get,
Peter.
like,
By
equipment
any,
up there if there was a leak.
any
or-
stretch of the imagination, it's
So
not adequate.
we're very happy that you have verbally committed to pave it, but we're asking for,
We are not, by stating it on the record, I'm not verbally committing to paving it. We are stating unequivocally, the town of Sturbridge is paving this 100 feet. This is a public meeting with a full board. I'll make a motion that the town pave that 100 feet at an appropriate time.
Maybe September, patching before that.
So that's perfect.
Okay, I'll second Jamie's motion.
All those in favor? Yeah,
Thank you.
so that's all you need. You don't need All right, Peter, it was nice seeing you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Quick executive.
Yeah, we have an executive session.
Just make sure she contacts the
Yeah,
pastor,
she
so
will.
it's not during their celebration.
She will, she talks to the pastor routinely.
I'm like cold. It's because I'm tired.
I think it's
freezing
just
here.
the temperature.
It's been up and down. I was hot earlier, now I'm actually cold, so it must have kicked on.
Okay.
You have
It is
adjourned
cold because I've got a
and-
jacket on and I'm not.
Yeah,
no, I
adjourn
mean-
and an executive, well, it's executive session.
So, yeah, we need an executive session that we are going to adjourn out of.
Citizens Forum?
So long.
Oh. They didn't have any questions.
I'll make a motion that pursuant to Mass General Laws, Chapter 30A, Section 21, subparagraph A6, that we convene an executive session and not to reconvene an open session in order to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property if the chair declares that an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the public body, and also under Mass General Laws, Chapter 38, Section C21, subparagraph A7, to comply with or act under the authority of any general or special law or federal grant in aid requirements, and the chair so declares, and again, not to reconvene an open session.
So declared as each item. Mary Dowling, how do you vote?
Yes.
Keegan, how do you vote?
Yes.
I vote yes. All right.